Learn every tool in Adobe Illustrator as well as their practical uses. Welcome to my channel. My name is Vincent Ani. In this video, every tool in Adobe Illustrator will be explained in great details, and I will also show you how to use them in your designs. The selection tool. Pick up the selection tool and use it to select objects or group of objects. When an object is selected, you can change its properties, such as color. The selection tool is also a move tool. Click and drag an object to a new location. As a rotating tool, hover the selection tool around the corner until you see this icon. Then click and drag to rotate the object. To round the corners, click on the anchor point and drag inwardly. Click and drag to resize an object. As a scaling tool, click and drag inwardly or outwardly. Hold the Shift key to scale proportionally. The direct selection tool. You can't use selection tool to select individual objects in a group, but you can use direct selection tool to do just that. Let me show you other things that this tool can do. Let's recreate the ear of this cat. Draw a rectangle. Select one anchor point by clicking on it or drawing a marquee rectangle around it. Then click and drag inwardly. More functions. Create a circle. Select one anchor point and press the Delete button in your keyboard. Click on any of the anchor points to transform the shape. You can also click and drag the handle to change the curvature. The magic wand. Instead of selecting objects one by one, select the magic wand and click on any object to select similar objects. Then go on to change their properties in one click. The lasso tool. Use the lasso tool to select any object or part of an object by drawing around it. Hold the Shift key to add to your selection. To remove from your selection, hold the Alt key. The pen tool. Select the pen tool and start drawing anything at all. Click, then move forward and click to draw a straight line. To draw a curve, click and drag. Click and drag again. To break the curve and continue with the straight line, hold the Alt or Option key and click. There is a learning curve, but once you get the hang of it, you can do anything with it. It's so versatile. Add anchor point tool. Select the Add Anchor Point tool. Click anywhere along the path to add anchor point. Then use Direct Selection tool to transform the object. Delete Anchor Point tool. Select the Delete Anchor Point tool. Click on any anchor point to delete it. The Anchor Point tool. Select the anchor point tool. Click anywhere along the path and drag. It adds anchor point and works as a direct selection tool at the same time. To quickly draw a love icon, a heart, position the rectangle this way. Select the anchor point tool, click and drag this way. Hold the shift key to round it proportionally. Before we continue, please pay attention to these quick tips. The curvature tool. Select the curvature tool, click, move forward and click again to create a curve. Now let's give this guy a mouth. Click, click in the middle and click. Hold the Control or Command key and click anywhere to terminate. The curvature tool is also a reshaping tool. Now let's say you use a pen tool to draw these eyeglasses, but it's not perfect. You can use the curvature tool to nudge it and right. Looks better. And now our guy looks like a bad guy. The type tool. Select the type tool and click. You will see lorem ipsum. Just ignore the language and type in your own words. It's as simple as that. You can click and drag to have your text in a bounding box. There's a lot you can do to this text. Just select the text first, then go to the property panel. Now you can change the color, add strokes, change stroke color. And if you are tired of the stroke, you go back and cancel it. You can change the opacity, add some features, say drop shadow. You don't like the look? Click on drop shadow and change the parameters to your preference. You can change the font type and size. If you are getting value so far, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Paragraph spacing, paragraph alignment, spaces between letters, and there is still more. Just click here. Turn the text to all caps, small caps, superscript, subscript, underline text, area type tool. Select the area type tool. If you get this error message, you clicked outside the path. Click on the path now. Type on a path tool. Select the tool, click on a path, any path. Then use these two control widgets to position the text properly along the path. Hover around the widget until you see this arrow pointing backwards. Then click and drag the text. You can also use direct selection tool to move the widget. If you want the text on the upper arc, you drag the control widget back to this area. If you like to know how to place text both on the upper arc and the lower arc, just like in this logo, click on the video link in the description section below. The vertical type tool. Select the vertical type tool, click on the artboard or object. The vertical area type tool. Select the tool, click on any object or shape. The vertical type on a path tool. Select the tool, click on the path, anywhere on the path. The touch type tool. Select the tool, click on any letter to select it in a bounding box. Then format the selected letter alone. The line tool. Select the line tool, click and drag. Hold Shift to make a straight line. Then go to Property and make some adjustments. Change the stroke size, the color, round the corner, turn it into a dotted line. Change the style. Do whatever you want to do with it. The arc tool. In this image, we can identify arcs around its mouth and its tail. Select the arc tool, click and drag to draw an arc. You can also click on the artboard and arc segment tool option flies out. Enter your preferred parameters and click OK. The spiral tool. Select the spiral tool, click and drag. Use the up and down arrow keys to reduce or increase the spiral. The rectangular grid tool. This isometric home wouldn't have been possible without grid. The rectangular grid is the foundation upon which drawings, especially isometric drawings, are built. Select the rectangular grid tool, click and drag. Use the arrow keys to increase or reduce the numbers of rows and columns. You can also click on the artboard to enter your preferred parameters. The polar grid. This beautiful artwork is done with the polar grid. Select the tool, click and drag. Use the arrow keys to control the number of the segments. You can also use the tool options to set your preferred parameters. the rectangle tool. Select the rectangle tool, click and drag to draw a rectangle. A rounded rectangle tool, select the tool, click and drag to draw a rounded rectangle. The ellipse tool, select the ellipse tool, click and drag. Hold Shift for a perfect circle. To create a shape, select the shape tool and click on the artboard. Then enter your preferred dimensions. The polygon tool. Select the polygon tool, click and drag. Press the arrow keys to increase or reduce the number of sides. This house is made of shapes. The star tool. Select the star tool, click and drag to draw a beautiful star. Use the arrow keys to change the length of the star pointers. The flare tool. Select the tool, click and drag to create the flare and halo. Then click for the direction of the rays. Create a background to reveal the flare. The paintbrush tool. When you select the paintbrush tool and see this X icon, you know that the caps lock is on. Turn off the caps lock to see the paintbrush tool icon. Click and draw or write. Double click to change the settings. You have the smooth path and the accurate path. Accurate tends to leave the shape the way you drew it. The smooth path will try to smoothen your shape. Use the square brackets to increase or reduce the brush size. Blob brush tool. Select the blob brush tool and draw. Shaper tool. This tool transforms your freehand drawing into real shapes. You have to make sure your drawing is as close as possible to the shape you are trying to draw. Other tools in this panel, the pencil tool. This is just like your normal pencil. Use it to draw. It creates a path that can be edited. Just like the paintbrush tool, it has two options. Play with these settings. Smooth tool. Use this tool to smoothen a knotted or rough path. If it doesn't work the first time, select the path and the smooth tool again, and it will work. Path eraser tool. As simple as its name, select a path first, then use the path eraser tool to erase the path. Join tool. Just draw to join two paths. Eraser tool. Use the eraser tool to erase or to draw on a field. Use the square brackets to change the size. More tools on this panel. The scissors tool. Select the scissors tool and click anywhere on a path to cut it. Now we can change the color of each arc. The knife tool. Select the knife tool and slice anywhere, then click and drag to separate. The rotate tool. Select the umbrella, for example, double-click on the rotation tool, change the angle and the preview. Another way to do this is by selecting an object, click the rotate tool once. Drag this to the anchor position and click, then rotate the object or hold the Alt or Option key while you click and drag the object to duplicate it. You can also use Ctrl or Command D to continue to duplicate and rotate the duplicate. You have just created a beautiful logo. The reflect tool. You can click, drop the anchor, and drag the object to rotate. We are not going to do that. We are going to select the object, then double-click on this tool, leaving the setting at vertical angle 90. Let me undo with Ctrl Z. Let's do it again. This time I'm selecting horizontal, the vertical, rotate the angles, then return to angle 90 degrees. Click on copy to duplicate the selection and reflect it. Then use the right arrow to nudge it to the right position. The scale tool. Select the star, double-click on the scale tool to call up these options. We want to create new star inside this one, so we scale the number down to 80%. For both horizontal and vertical, click on copy. The third star will be scaled down to 60%. You can go on and on. Other tools on the same panel. Share tool. Anchor your point, then click and drag the circle. Reshape tool. Use the tool to reshape the object. The width tool. Select the object, select the width tool, click and drag outwardly to increase the width, and inwardly to reduce the width size. You can do this in any part of the object. Other tools on the same panel, they do similar job of distorting the image in different ways. I will just be applying them one after the other and you observe their effects on the image. Warp tool. Twirl tool. Poker tool. Blot tool. Scallop tool. Crystallize tool. And the wrinkle tool. Free transform tool. Click on the object, then use the tool to transform the object freely. Puppet warp tool. This is super free transform tool. Use it to make this guy dance, run, bend, and so on. Let's select his hand and pin the points, the anchor points. Then click and drag. Do the same on his leg. Then on the caster, the shape builder tool. This is a very powerful tool for logo design. Select two or multiple shapes, then select the shape builder tool and hover it to see different segments. Now you can combine two or more sections into one shape. Let me undo with Ctrl Z. To remove any part, hold down the Alt or Option key while you drag the shape builder tool on that part. Let's do the same with this panda head. Select the panda head. Use the shape builder tool to combine them. The live paint bucket tool. Use this tool to color compound images like this polar grid. Select the live paint bucket tool. Use it to select a color. Ensure you have the field selected. Then paint away. Use the left and right arrow keys to select colors from the bucket. Live paint selection tool. Use live paint selection tool to select a color for editing. The perspective grid tool. I would like to add a design on the left wall of this isometric comb, but I couldn't. To succeed, I select the perspective grid tool. I can place any design on that wall. I can also use perspective selection tool to select it. To close it, select perspective grid tool, then click on the X icon here. The mesh tool. Select the image, click on the mesh tool to add mesh around the image. Then use the mesh to edit a particular area of the image. The gradient tool. Select the circle, go to the property panel to choose a gradient type, linear, radial, and free transform gradient. Use these buttons to control the angle and location of the gradient colors. Click here to reverse gradient. To change the gradient colors, click on each color to change it. To add a button, when the cursor turns to plus, click and drag to create button for another color on the gradient slide. The eyedropper tool. Use this to pick a color and add it to your selection. Very easy. To color this cat below, we just need the reference image above. Select the head, the eyedropper tool, click the reference image. Select the trunk, click the reference image. Do the same with the tail. Then the eyes. And finally, this. The measure tool. To know the height or width of any object, just click and stretch to the end. And see the width displayed on info panel above. Blend tool. You can also find this tool on object menu above. Click on blend, then make. You can also go to blend options to change your settings. You can change the number of specific steps. The symbol sprayer tool. Select the image, open the symbol panel. Select the symbol sprayer tool, select a symbol and click on your selection. The column graph. These graphs are used for data visualization like the one on the screen. There are different types, but same method of application. I am going to explain only the first one, the column graph. So please pay attention. Click on the column graph, then click on the artboard to create the size of the graph. Next is to enter data in columns and rows. Click on the first cell and type in company names. Use the tab key to move to the next cell or simply click on it. Then type YouTube and lastly Instagram. Then click under them to add their corresponding data 30, 60, and 10. You can import this data or transpose. Let's click on this good icon to create our graph. Over here, you can change the type of graph to any of these charts. Let's change it to a pie chart. To customize it like this one, a link to the video has been added in the description section. The artboard. Hold down the Alt or the Option key. Click and drag to any direction to duplicate the artboard. Change the settings over here, rearrange all. Now let's practice. Let's use what we have learned so far to try and recreate the cat. Please pay attention for how we go just halfway and task you to complete the rest using the same method. For the head, create a rectangle around the corners. Do the same for the trunk. Pick up the pen tool and draw the tail. For the ears, let's draw a rectangle. Use the direct selection tool to select and round only one anchor point. Hold the Alt key to duplicate the ear. Use the eyedropper tool to color. Go to Object to rearrange the object. Hold Shift and select the two ears. Select the right ear and reflect it. Select the ellipse tool and draw a circle. Duplicate the circle. Select both and change their color. Draw another circle and change the color to black. Now for the nose, draw a rectangle and round the corners. Use the eyedropper tool to change the color. And for the mouth, select the curvature tool. Click here, here, and click. And that's one side of the mouth. Then reflect for the second half. Select the two ears and send them to the back. I will stop here and urge you to complete this drawing and send it back to me. I'd like to see what you have done. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and do not forget to subscribe to my channel.